into there's going to be a entryway into really start to think how things are shifting and the importance of truly, you do not have to post every day. The importance of, if you decide to utilize social media, I'm not here to say social media is bad, that you have to really do it strategically so that it works when you're not on it. So with that, let's get started. So now with your content on social media, it's no longer about just posting or getting likes or attention. Now, if you have a business and you really want to make sales, it's about 5 things on your post so that it works for you and it attracts people, customers, clients, potential people that are interested in the services that you're offering. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I've never had any interest about growing my following or getting tons of views and likes. That's never been my purpose. So I did want to preface before I start this. So first, it starts with the thumbnail or the little box in your post, right? So if I was going to do a video, first I need to get somebody to understand, what is this video about, right? If I have this right now, if you're watching me on video on Spotify or YouTube, you can actually see me and interact with me, see that you're in my living room. But if somebody just looks at me talking from a couch, that's going to take a lot of energy for somebody to click on that, right? So my thumbnail or the picture that is the first picture that's saved on my post feed has to say what this episode is about. So this episode is for 2026, the new social media pivot, going into keywords. It's what this episode is about, right? So start thinking about that. If you are posting a picture of scissors, has no meaning, right? But if you posted a picture on one of your videos or your post of short hair with scissors, and then you talk about short hair layers, that would interest somebody who's looking to get short hair layers on their hair, or maybe looking for short haircut ideas. You see where I'm going with this? Keywords are so important. So the easiest way for me to really explain, and even for me to understand in my own brain how I think about keywords, is like it's describing the picture in a way where in less than 3 seconds I can let people understand what this thing is about. Instead of just a plain boring picture of scissors, I'm showing short hair, scissors, and I can put with words, I can put short hair layers, right? So people are like, oh my gosh, I have short hair and I want layers in my short hair. I want to watch that video. I want to click on that. It's so important that we start looking at that. It's really about your interest, right? What are clients really searching and interested in? So that's the first thing, is going to be your thumbnail on social media. The second thing is going to be your caption. So the first 2 sentences that people get to read, it's really important that they know what's going to be about and what's in it for them, right? So if I'm just going to be talking about myself, some people may be curious, but most people don't care. As human beings, we are probably looking for a solution or looking for entertainment. We want to know what's about, and if we want to give our time and effort of watching this thing. So it's so important that you're very clear what is in it for them. So if I was going to do a tutorial, right, curling my hair tutorial, putting that in a caption, it's a curling hair tutorial, then when somebody goes on the search bar and searching curling hair tutorials, my video could potentially pop up. If the picture, if the thumbnail, the first 2 sentences match the description of what I'm talking about. So that's what I mean. With social media, it has really gotten, it's all about keywords or discoverability and searchability. So when somebody searches, are they typing or looking for the words that you have in your videos? That's what social media has turned into. And also it has to do a lot with interest. And I wanted to share that because I think that right now with everything going on, we're not going to discuss politics here, but with everybody's different point of view, of values, and where they're standing. I did a podcast episode on this. Standing up for your values can also it will affect your business. Whether you say something, you don't say something, you share something or you don't. Either way, it'll always affect you. So I think it's really important that you remember we are humans and we do business with humans. That doesn't mean just because you think of something different that you're going to repel every single person out there. There are consequences for the things that we say and don't say. So with that, I think it's so important that you remember with interest media, right? People want to know you as a human too. And it doesn't have to be political or value driven. It can also be about your life. I have a puppy. Her name is Hazel. And I share her sometimes. She does not like the camera. She can feel when I'm recording her or taking pictures of her. And she's just not a fan of pictures. So I tend to share her from time to time, and it's kind of funny because I attract a lot of clients that have animals or love animals. Whether it doesn't necessarily have to be a dog, but they'll have a cat. So they're animal lovers, right? So that's something that has nothing to do with hair, has nothing to do with business, but it's a common interest that we share. So the same things, it doesn't have to be all about you, but we can share little glimpses of you, right? Usually remember, how is this going to connect with your audience, right? So I love to go on walks. Walks are really good for my mental health. So sometimes I'll share little snippets of my walks. And sometimes Hazel comes along and she gets share in part of that because it's part of my everyday life. And I connect with other people that love to go on walks, or people that love to hike, or people that have animals, right? Because we have the similarities. So where the social media shift is like, again, as I was talking, don't be scared to also show your interests. Who are you as the person beyond what you do in your business? So we already talked about the importance of having a good thumbnail, having a good caption, what the video is about. And also, like, I wanted to include this other tip number 3 is please add captions. So what happened with Instagram is that you usually have an option where you can add captions. You can enable captions for all your videos. But my captions were not working. And I had somebody was looking at my stuff. I had a coaching call with somebody else, and she was looking at my stuff, and she's like, hey, can I please get you to add captions? I'm like, I always add captions, and I don't know why this is not, I put on the toggle and it's not working. So I literally I spent 2 hours trying to fix it, and I finally was able to fix it on Instagram, where all my videos have the automated captions, enabled captions, even though most of my videos have captions in them. And I just did this because I think it's so important that we realize that we are all learned differently. I'm an auditory and visual processor, so I need to have both of those components together to learn. And I've noticed, with me, even if I have my phone off silence mode, that I need to be able to hear and also read what the person is saying so I can really understand and I can really comprehend what they're trying to teach me, and I can really make it sink into me to learn. So that's why it's so important. Everybody learns the different styles, and it's so important that we also learn, like, there's a deaf community, and there's people that have different learning capabilities, and we need to do our part. It's super simple to do. You can literally go on Instagram, you go on your settings, and you can go, and I believe there's an option there where you can actually like enable captions for all your videos. And it has a new feature where you can even enable translation. So, which I did for my stuff because I also do stuff in Spanish. So it enabled it to translate it into Spanish, or my English stuff into Spanish. I did that for myself. But I know that because I know there's other people, other different video creators and hairstylists that are from different countries that speak different languages that also have that option where you can translate what they said in their language into English, which is pretty awesome. So enable the tools that social media gives you. Part of education and part of being in business is also understanding that we all communicate differently. So that was number 3, which was about captioning your videos and content. So number 4 is work smarter, not harder with your posts. Trends. I happen to be a bridal hairstylist, and even if you're a regular hairstylist, trends are always constantly changing all the time. So what type of hairstyle was trending 2 years ago is different than what's trending today, right? So I think it's so important that you always remember, when you caption your videos and your photos, try to do it with keywords that are going to give longevity in return. So I wouldn't be utilizing a trending keyword right now. For example, 26 hairstyles will be great if I'm trying to be searched and found for 2026 hairstyles. But if you think about it, by 2027, that's old, right? I'm no longer discoverable versus doing a blowout tutorial, right? It's generic, it's not time-stamped. So always remember that when you write your captions, and to make sure that your content lives for a long time in regards to discoverability. I think it's so important that we remember to use words or descriptions that are going to be for the long haul, because the reality is, like, and this is why I don't rely on social media, on Instagram, is that Instagram, every time you post, it lives for 24 hours if you're lucky. It's going to give you back in return 24 hours, and that's it. So all that effort, all that time you put in there is just for 24 hours. And then the discoverability, right? When people search those terms, if your content connects to that, that's how you get found. So it's so important, if you're going to be utilizing social media and you don't want to post every day, that you really remember it's about keywords and don't just go with what's trending. Also do things for the long haul. And lastly, number 5, make it easy to contact you and do business with you. I haven't updated my Celeste Stylist website in a long time, my coaching one. It was a hot ass mess. And I finally did. I began to do the updates and everything on it, and it looks so much more nice and cohesive and clean. And I feel even so much better just about it. That's so important that it's easy to do business with you. So for my bridal page, which is a separate Instagram with a separate website, it's so easy. There's so many different points of contact where people can reach out to me. They can inquire with me. And I always have different options of communicating with me. It's not just like they have to fill out the form. There are people that don't want to fill out the form, and I still get inquiries without the whole form filled out because there's other options for them to contact me. But I make it easy for them to do business with me. I am not stuck in my ways. I've had brides that want to DM me and do business through DM. I respect that, right? So I think it's so important also in business, make sure that it's easy to do business with you. There has been so many times, and I really encourage you, after listening to this podcast episode, go check out your website. So are your links broken? Sometimes my links break and it sucks. I had a bride, she was so sweet. She told me, Celeste, your link is broken. I couldn't submit it. And I was wondering, why are my inquiries down from every month? Because I track my numbers. And I was like, what's going on? And it was my link was broken. So go check on that when your contact page. Just do a little test trial. Is it working? Also, sometimes typos, right? Maybe you have your email address spelled incorrectly. Make sure that's always correct. Go check your website at least once a month for that. And also on your website, make sure there's different points of contact where people can contact you. There's been so many times, and I'm sorry, I know this is going to make some people mad, but there's been so many times where I go into somebody's website and there's no pricing. If they want to do business with me, they have to inquire and they have to contact me. I understand, but do you know how annoying that is? Where's the transparency? And that's for me where I have been going through my capitalism and anti-capitalism journey. That part of anti-capitalism is being straight up and honest. What is the pricing, right? So people can self-filter themselves to see, like, is this within my budget or not, right? If it just happened, yesterday was a Super Bowl here, and I was telling my husband, I'm like, dude, do you regret us not going to a Super Bowl and spend X amount of thousands of dollars so our whole family could go for this experience? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, honestly, I don't regret it either. No, that's not something I want to spend money in or I see value in for myself. That's just for me and my family. But having said that, I'm not judging other people because they went. And also, I self-qualified, right? I didn't waste my time on getting on a wait list or trying to buy tickets because I already knew what the cost for each ticket was going to be, what the cost for my whole family would have been. And I got to decide if this experience was in alignment with me, was valuable to us, and our decision was no, right? But I was able to self-qualify because they're honest about how much it costs. When you go buy a house, it's not a mystery. People want to go buy a $100,000 house, $1 million house. They know what the price is before they go in and show up in there. They know what the cost of entry is too. So I think it's so important that we just get over that whole like, well, if you want to find out my pricing, you need to inquire with me. And also with the websites, have contact points at different page throughout your page. There's been so many pages where I literally have to scroll all the way down to the contact. And they're like, oh, do business with me. And like, oh my gosh, they offer all these services. Oh my gosh, there's no freaking pricing, so I don't even know. And I always think about this, and I want you to think about this too. And answer this for yourself. If there's a service that you're looking for, let's say maybe it's house cleaning. So you're looking for a house cleaner, and you go on their website, and they have 3 different packages and no pricing on there. How much effort it takes to reach out versus you go to somebody else's house cleaning website. They have with 3 package options of the pricing, what is at, and it has a little underneath, it has a little in parentheses letting you know that to book your appointment, you can book it for yourself right there in the book now button, or you can inquire, and to save your date, you'll need to give a $50 deposit, right? I would go with that page. I would go with the page where I can book now because I can look at my calendar, I can look at theirs and get them in. And I know what package I want, which is within my budget for my house cleaning service, right? And also, if I'm not comfortable booking that way and I wanted to have a conversation, or I already know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to have a conversation. I know what package I'm looking at. And I also know that in order to book my appointment, I'm going to have to pay X amount of dollars, right? I'm self qualifying. Your client can do the hard work for you, where literally all you're doing is closing the sale just by posting your pricing. And I know it's really hard. For me, it was so hard in the beginning. Oh my gosh, I'm going to put my pricing up and people can know what I charge, right? And what if people judge me, or people think it's too much, or blah, 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 this and that. And on the contrary, people can't self qualify. And through other things that I've done in my own marketing, I've learned, I'm like, dude, this is so important. No matter where you go, even if you go to Nordstrom, no matter what store you go to, you always know what you're paying for things. And people asking you for your pricing is not that they devalue you, is that they really want to know, is this within my budget? It's that simple. And if not, they're not going to waste your time, and you're not wasting your precious time either answering on inquiries that are not within the threshold of what your services are. So to wrap up, for social media for 2026, it's going to be very keyword and interest based, right? So remember, when you do your post with your thumbnail of your picture, right? Make sure you put words. What is it about? If somebody looks at it and they look at it for 2 seconds, can they understand what's about? Haircut tutorial, blowout at home tutorial. Do they understand exactly what it is, and they can self-qualify? Short layers on short hair video, or layers for short hair. Can they self-qualify, right? I don't have short hair. I have medium-sized hair. So that video for me would be self-qualification. That's not for me. Number 2, make sure that you use keywords that are going to give back to you for the long haul. Yes, 2026 terms are cool and they're going to help you for 2026, but are you going to go back and change it to a keyword where you can be found instead of haircuts for 2026 or 2026 haircut trends? Are you going to be able to remember to go back to your stuff in a couple of months when we're no longer in the beginning months of 2026, or when we go back into next year when we're in 2027? Are you going to remember to go back and make sure that that content, if it does really well and people are finding you through that you're able to update it to maybe haircut trends instead of 2026, right? Because we know we're in an industry where stuff is always constantly changing and evolving. The other thing, your captions, make sure that you have keywords in your captions that people are searching for so you can discover you. Make sure that you're using also like captions in your videos. Remember that we all learn different ways. Not everybody has their audio on. And even when someone is watching a video or reading your content or listening to you, they may need that additional support to be able to learn what you're doing for. And Instagram and a lot of almost all the social media platforms now have automatic captions that you can utilize for free. And lastly, remember, is it easy to do business with you? If I go into your website, which builds authority automatically, it's like your online store. Is it easy for me to contact you? Is there different ways where I can find you throughout the page? I don't have to scroll all the way down there. And be really transparent with pricing. And part of breaking this whole capitalist thing is about being transparency with pricing. And you don't have to, you're like, oh my gosh, Celeste, I don't want to put how much I charge. That's fine. If you can put starting at, so I did that for a long time, starting at 50 plus, right? So people know, okay, cool. So she starts at $50 up. You can self-qualify. I know it's not going to be $500. I know it's $50 up, right? So I know that there's a threshold, usually within $25 threshold, I would say. So you can start doing it that way, but it's so important that you help your too as business owners. We have to be smarter how we use social media, and when our clients inquire with us, that they start doing the hard work, which is the self-qualification. Because once they do the self-qualification, it makes it so much more easier to be able to close sales and to do business and run your business by having people that can actually afford and self-qualify to know that they're the right client for you. So if you decide to use social media for 2026 without having to post every day, this is some of the things that I've utilized. To find out more, please feel free to DM me at Celeste the Stylist on Instagram. And thank you so much for tuning in. I always appreciate your reviews. So if you have time to leave me a review or a comment on Spotify, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you back here later on this week. We're going to start with episode 1, which has nothing to do with social media. But I really felt it was really important to start with the basis of how social media, even it's switching into keywords, into interest, It's literally, it's no longer about being social. It's starting to get a big shift, and people are not on it as much as they used to be. Even for me, I find it so annoying. I have a 15-minute timer, and it only, with those 15 minutes, I usually see at least 10 ads, and it's so freaking annoying. I don't know when I'm be on it. So really start thinking how everything's starting to shift. And with that, I will see you back here next week. Bye, love.